G'day champions, Captain here. We're going to upload another video onto our YouTube channel, or you can visit this one at www.armchairchampions.com.au. We're going to be talking about round 22. So let's introduce the other panelists for today. And I'll tell you what, this guy has got better death stare than Razor Ray after 350 games. Welcome, Oyster. How are you, champion?
Hi, Captain. Look, to the people who are watching, I apologise in advance. And retrospectively about my views from last week.
Jeez, we put the kiss of death on them, didn't we?
Western Bulldogs lost. The Swans lost. Geelong lost.
Yeah.
It was a pretty dire attempt of trying to use my prophecy skills. But we did say, though, Captain, that it was going to be close between Geelong and the Giants. I just didn't expect them to win. But anyway, good for the Western Sydney supporters, all 11 of them. But it'll be interesting to see if that's made a big difference with making the top 8 or not.
I'll tell you what, the only good thing about GWS these days is the netball team that are in the semi-final, they pull a better crowd than the actual football team. So, there you go. Figure it's dire straits when that happens.
Congratulations on your AFLW licence.
Yes, the mighty Swans are in. So, apparently 18 teams now.
Yeah, I mentioned that they did not want to put in for their licence originally. But anyway, let's not spoil a good news story. But it's just a great opportunity being a young girl with some coordination, and you've got a chance of playing professional footy
at the highest level.
Yeah, really exciting.
So let's go to your first game there. The GWS Giants up against your mob, tallying them up. How'd you see the game? What'd you think of it?
Look, I think the Giants are a team where they win the games that are somewhat unexpected, and then they tend to play abysmally against the weaker sides. Like the week after they beat Melbourne Demons, they lost to the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah,
it's a good sign though. But they are missing Toby Green, and that he was the difference in the game. Him and Sam Taylor. I thought Sam Taylor played exceptionally well on Tom Hawkins. The Cats had the chances towards the last 5 minutes, particularly when young Jordan Clark had a set shot from 15 out.
Yeah,
and decided to around the corner, and then surprise, he got omitted this game. So,
what's the go with all these people doing around the side kick? It's crept right into the game. Are we Gaelic football or are we AFL? I just don't get it. Every forward now, and you're dead in front, and they're still doing the bloody turn around the body kick.
I don't understand it. And you were a full forward yourself back in the day when we played together, and I never saw you do any around the corner kicks. You were a beautiful that shot straight on, shoulders squared to the goals.
That's it. Look, something behind there.
Yeah. I mean, that would have brought the score back to 3 points with 5 minutes to go. And they had the entire momentum up until that point.
Yeah.
And, after that crucial play was behind, they kicked the goal. And then they ended up winning. And it was a well-deserved win. I mean, it was probably one of their gutsier wins, I'd say. It's probably one of their greater wins in their 10-year history.
Oh, definitely. That's for sure. The one incident that came out of it was somebody that's got a lot more form than Sidney Crawford doing Playboy shoots at the judiciary is Toby Green. What'd you see about that? He got off, but then didn't get off. From 2 games down to 1, he fought for that extra 1 game to be scrapped, but the AFL said, "Come on, mate, I think you have a bit of history here."
There's a precedence there, isn't there? But like we said, like I did mention in my article a few weeks ago, listeners, that once the precedent's set, it's very hard to change that precedence. But it was awful looking. Anything looks terrible in slow motion, but it was just a reaction. And then people saying that Patrick Dangerfield was milking it a bit.
Yeah,
he was in hospital. And I do realise that he had a similar incident with Bluston in the grand final last year, but it didn't look good. And I think his poor record in the tribunal went against him, definitely.
Well, I'll tell you one thing's for sure. I don't think we're going to be seeing Dangerfield yelling too loudly at his players this week, because I just don't think he can. I think the elbow did hit the mark. So I don't think he's faking that one.
He didn't miss young Uncle Toby, but the Cats... They're frustrating to support because they're so inconsistent. And I think when Kolodjasny kicked his first goal, that might have set the tone in a negative way to see how the rest of the night was going. Because I mean, like I think he had 10 behinds before that, and he's 120 odd games. But look, it's an exciting time to kick a goal, but I'm sure they'd rather not kick goals and win.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, this week you're playing. This week, actually, let's just get into that. This week you've got the Tigers. GWS got the Tigers, sorry. So that's on tonight. Where do you see that one going? I mean, the Tigers are favourites. I can't understand why. I mean, there's no Toby Green, but surely GWS should win this one, shouldn't they?
No, I don't think they will. I think that Toby Green's like the barometer for the team. He really lifts them. He's 4 goals with a difference on the weekend, last weekend. It really depends if I think Josh Kelly's back. Is he not?
Yeah, I believe he's in.
Like Jesse Hogan looks good in patches. It depends what to do with young Jake Riccardi, I suppose. I mean, he's been on the bench the last few weeks. Are they playing him as a forward, as a back? Is he a swing man? I'm not too sure. Beautiful mark, young Jake Riccardi, and he's got a pretty good set shot. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays up front with Hogan and Himmelberg and trying to test the tall timbers because Richmond are losing a bit of height in the backs. Bolter's out definitely, so that they might be the best strategy moving forward. But I mean, we would almost put the mocker on the Tigers there up until 3/4 time, and then they split the Roos. But I don't know. Look, I hope Richmond lose because no one likes Richmond. And any team you could ask, who do you support? Myself and anyone who supports Richmond. Yeah. And as a Swan supporter, I'm sure you're thinking the same. But look, it's, I think that Richmond will win. I don't want them to, but hopefully I'm wrong again.
We're just looking at the actual team listing. Kelly is named to play as well. So, he's definitely in. So, they got a shot there.
Beautiful. And because it's International Left-Handers Day, he is a beautiful so him and Lockie Whitfield do tend to have great left foots, left pegs on it. They can kick either side of their body, but it'll be interesting to see if they use that momentum from last week, or will they use the Toby Green suspension as a get out of jail? Why they lost, because they should have beaten them the first time against the Tigers, and that was with Dusty playing. So it'll be an interesting game. It's a good Friday night game actually. Yeah,
that's going to be a bloody good game down there, that's for sure. Now, you were going to touch on it before, the Saints over the Swans. I look at it 2 ways. I think it's the loss the Swans had to have. I think that's what most Swans supporters will be saying leading forward. You got to lose one before the big dance to sort of remind you that you got to play 4 quarters of football, not 2. We seem to always come from behind, second half. All right, we better start playing now. We've toyed with them enough. But against the Saints, we just weren't in that game. They're just, I don't know what was going on. Weird.
I think it was the game where the Saints, I don't know if it's because it's towards the end of the season and there's contracts that need to be negotiated, but there was some Billings played beautifully, the bits I saw. I mean, Max King kicked straight. We talked about that before.
Yeah, he had to kick a bucket load to win. He did.
And he did. And but St Kilda should be better than they are. They've got a really good side. They've got some solid midfielders. I mean, they've got some key forwards. I think the one thing that could be the reason why they're losing is because of their back line. I mean, Jake Carlisle, I don't know how much longer he's got to go. I mean, he looks disinterested at times, and it's probably a good thing that Buddy's 34, wherever he is, not in his 20s, because he would have absolutely annihilated him. But, Buddy Watch continues, captain, and every time you mention it, it just seems to be one of those things that
slide and away.
That's it. I don't think if he could play the way he's going, he'll have to play another 10 games to crack the milestone. And again, International Left-Handers Day would be the first left footer join the elite group of 1,000 goals. So,
how good. And you mentioned before the Bulldogs. Bulldogs getting towed up by the Dons. The Bombers absolutely did a number on them. And the Bulldogs just, they hadn't even play for. You're coming first and you get beat by a team that's still trying to make the top 8. So they had a lot to play for, but that was weird.
Yeah. And that was one of the things I actually predicted correctly last week, saying that they had the best chance of making it through. It's interesting how Essendon do tend to, I mean, again, they've won some games unexpectedly, but they've lost some close games that hopefully doesn't go against them as an Essendon supporter. But I mean, again, the side they've got, I mean, like 2 metre Peter kicking 7 straight. That was the difference, you know. And then Aaron Norton, the key forward for the Bulldogs, kicked 1 goal 3, I think it was. And Josh Bruce is out now with an knee injury for the rest of the year. I mean,
that's a big loss.
It is, yeah. I mean, I don't really rate him as a player as such, but he's just he's got a big presence. Where young Jamara, he's still perfecting his craft. He's still quite slight, but this could be the making of young Jamara, and it's big shoes to fill, being a number 1 draft pick. I mean, we've had some number 1 draft picks who have subsided in the past. I mean, Tom Boyd played the game of his life in the 2016 grand final. But Matt Rowell, glimpses of brilliance last year before his injury, but then he got injured again this year. Yes, it's a bit of a curse at the moment, isn't it? The old number 1 draft pick.
Yeah, well, they've re-signed him again for next year, so they've seen a lot in him in the last 3-4 games to think he's going to have what it takes. But I'd bring him on to the game this end of the season. You'd want to try to start him a bit earlier, I would have thought, and try to
whoever's his manager, whoever did the right thing by saying that he's looking for offers and is unhappy with the predicament that he's in, not being played earlier. But I mean, how can you play him earlier when they were winning? They won 10 straight, didn't they? 10 or 11 straight.
Yeah, they're on fire.
You don't win a winning team just for the sake of someone
who's unhappy.
No, you have to earn your right to play. Yeah.
Well, speaking about that, unhappy, what's going on with the Carlton Blues? The coach is pleading for his job. There's a couple of weeks out before the comp's ended. You've got to let him see it out. But, I mean, has he already lost the support of the board by the sounds of it, as the old cliche goes? But he seems to have lost a fair bit of support from the players because they just don't seem to be playing for him.
I really pity Carlton supporters because ever since Chris Judd was traded all those years ago, the only reason why they made the finals that year in 2013 is because of the Asada drug scandal, and Essendon lost their points or had points deducted. And then they beat Richmond, I think, in the elimination final. So, look, it's been we're coming for a long time. I mean, like, there's only time you can only say so many times you can say you're coming, and then people not believe you. It's
like Collingwood.
Yeah, and look, it's
and Buckley as a coach.
What a great list. Sam Walsh is playing well, but Patrick Cripps looks like he's injured or he's carrying an injury. He's not his usual dynamic self. His numbers have dropped. His effectiveness has dropped. Harry McKay is a great prospect, but geez, if he sorted out his goal kicking, they probably should have won more games, So look, it's a poison chalice, the old Carlton job, ever since Mick Malthouse resigned or
asked to leave.
Bolton was the next big thing with his work with the Hawks as an assistant coach, and then he got the ask. So, who's there? Like, would you want Ross Lyon as a coach if you're a Carlton supporter?
Wow, he's been around the traps, hasn't he? Well, they're talking about Clarkson. They're talking about now that Clarkson will be leaving Hawthorn. That Clarkson pretty much will be the guy that they'll be targeting. And if Clarkson wants to be a coach, so he'll probably take it up.
Yeah, but Clarkson had a strong squad for numerous years. Not the caliber of
Carlton's
caliber of the early 2010s of the Hawthorn team. I mean, that was probably the most dominant team in history, arguably. Yeah. And I mean, they've got snippets of good players. Jacob Wiedering's he's a gun centre half back, full back. You've got like we said, Walsh and Cripps, but there's not much else there.
Well, I'll tell you what, look, the only good thing for them going forward this week is they're playing Port Adelaide, who we had a bit of a joke about last week, had to face the Crows. There was an instant 4 points coming, but they only just beat them. Like, where's the goals going to come from? Well, both teams didn't really kick any. But so the Blues have got Port.
And that insincere apology from Taylor Walker was near on laughable, wasn't it?
Oh, I thought it was bizarre.
I really feel for the young fella, whoever he vilified. I can't remember what his name was.
Well, he was in the background with the apology. He put him in there behind the video.
Like, that's all right, mate. You called me a black sea. That's all right,
Yeah,
and I
we'll get over it.
The Kangaroo CEO nodded on the head. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
how are we continually going backwards as a sporting organisation? I mean, it's farcical, and it makes the AFL look like a laughing stock in world sporting terms as a serious organisation, because it just keeps on happening.
Yeah, I don't think they should have brought the poor fella up there to sit behind him for a start.
No, I mean, that was poor taste.
It was a poor look, yeah. If you're really sorry, mate, sit right next to him.
Yeah, I really
don't make it all about you front row and, hey, sorry about this bloke behind me.
Yeah, that's it.
Be sincere, like no doubt you were, but he also read it. It looked like he was clearly reading that down, down the camera there. Would have been one of those big sort of Mr. Squibble sort of style boards too, holding in the background, big letters so he could read them. But
I think it was in poor taste, that's for sure. And I know we were talking about that last week, about that incident, but there could have been addressed so many different ways with a bit more sincerity and a bit more empathy towards the victim. I'll just, I mean, it's important that we mention it, because he's had a bit of a rough go, hasn't he? But I'll have a look later on. But yeah, it's Adelaide just get worse and worse and worse, don't they? There's like, ever since they lost the grand final, there was the
downward slide
season. Yeah, it was the pre-season incident with Don Pike and the players, and then it's gone down quickly. And they were leading, weren't they?
Well, they were the powerhouse team of Adelaide. Everyone loved the Crows. They were the dominant team. Yeah, Port was sort of there. They were like the little brother. They'd won a comp, but everyone liked the Crows, and everyone respected the Crows as that was the number one team in South Australia. And me being an Adelaide boy, being born there and brought up there, the Crows were the team that everyone wanted to follow. Everyone down there hates Port, for a reason. But times have changed.
Yeah, exactly right. It was young Robbie Young. And he deserved that. I mean, he was just there playing, and then Taylor thought it was in his best interest to rev up the other team by sledging in a totally inappropriate thing. And it's like, it's
$20,000, 6-week fine, and he's going to step away from the club.
Yeah, well, I doubt if he'll be there next year, because Matthew Nicks, being so closely affiliated with his time with the Swans, with Alan Goods and Mickey O'Loughlin, I would find it really hard for him to see that the relationship is still tenable moving forward. I'd suggest he'd be traded by Andy. That's my tip, viewers. I'd say I think we've probably seen the last of Taylor Walker in
Adelaide colours,
and probably who is going to pick him up.
I don't know, but now talking about being picked up, Tasmania's still trying to pick up a boyfriend, and it sounds like it's going to be the Kangaroos. They need a team down there. They don't want to, well, the AFL don't really like the idea of having to start one from fresh down there at Tasmania. They'd rather a Melbourne team sort of take the journey. What do you reckon? Good move for the Kangaroos, or do you think stick to your guns and stay where you are, Norths?
I would hazard a guess. Mrs. Oyster and myself went down to Tasmania just before COVID affected the world, and we were talking about that with the Gabby down there, and he was saying that the Tasmanian team wouldn't work anyway because of them thinking about splitting the teams between Hobart and Launceston.
Yeah.
So you need to just stick with one city and then just hope that the team would support it. So I would say it's going to be, I think they're based out in Hobart, aren't they? Are they based out of Blundstone, the Kangaroos?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Hawthorn go down there all the time too. So you've got Kangaroos and Hawthorn, but both teams are reluctant to re-sign. Or it might be actually Tasmania down there reluctant to re-sign for those two because they're trying to look to get their own team. Instead of putting a 19th team in, I think the AFL is more happy about let's do an 18th team still, competition, and let's just make a team go down there. Gold Coast Suns, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's different when it's a game every couple of weeks and they can make the journey out to watch it. But when it's a week-by-week proposition or every second week, there might drop off. That could be different. I mean, if you look at the Giants and the Suns, the Giants have got some success, and that sort of slowly brought the crowds. But Gold Coast is still struggling all these years later to get a crowd that's worth, broadcasting on live TV. Yeah. And
let's get on some games from this week. This week's games, let's go with your mob first. Geelong, you're up against the mob that beat ours, the Saints. Hopefully we haven't got this team, up and going to play you guys, but I think you will absolutely do a number on them. I think this one will be a 39.5 plus game win to you guys. You'll bounce back.
Look, I think Gary Rowan is injured. Jeremy Cameron comes in. Radical.
Not a bad replacement.
Yeah, not a bad replacement. Hopefully, he makes a big difference. But I mean, and again another beautiful left foot kick. Happy International Left-Handers Day, everybody. But he field kicking is much like Tom Hawkins here. It's pretty crisp. So even if he leads more forward up the ground, plays a more centre half forward role, he would be a good foil for Hawkins or for Radical, whoever plays there. But they should win.
Yeah.
Famous last words from last week.
Yeah, last week. Kiss of death, top 5 teams. 3 of them got dusted.
Really? They were lucky last time to beat them. It was just poor goal kicking on the Saints' behalf that allowed them to win. So without much confidence at all, I'd say Geelong, I'm going to say between 1 and 39.
Ooh, very good. At least the main thing is you get the W. That's what I think. Now, the good thing about the Swans, when you get a loss like that to St Kilda, there's only one way to sort of perp you up, and it's sort of like when you've been dumped by your girlfriend. You go out for a bender with your mates. Well, these blokes get to play North Melbourne. Bottom of the table, you'd think they'd put a scoreboard on them, and that's the way to pump your tyres up, go forward. What do you reckon? Should we, speaking of 39 plus, the Swans should absolutely do a number? Is there anyone left at North Melbourne?
Yeah, look, the young Zaha kicked 4 goals. I thought he played well. He's an interesting cat, old Cameron Zaha. He's like a very old school player, pretty gritty, hard at the ball. The Swans should win. Oh,
if they lose this, I'll give it up. We can't win this comp.
Yeah. Look at the class of the Swans. You got Heaney, Franklin. He should kick at least 5, you think.
He should.
Yeah, like Parker. You got Kennedy. They should win. They should.
Hapley should chip in for a couple.
Yeah.
Haywood's got to kick a couple.
Yeah. I mean, the Swans should win by easily 39 plus. And this might be the game that gets their season back on track, because if worst comes to worst, they'll be finishing 6th, will they? 5th or 6th?
Well, they're 6th at the moment. So they dropped down.
At the moment, they're playing against West Coast.
Yeah. West Coast are playing against themselves at the moment. They're just absolutely diabolical. They had that game last week. I don't know what happened. The lights went out. Oh, there was a big thunderstorm, electrical storm. They called it off. I don't know what happened in the sheds when that was, sort of postponed for a bit. But they came out like they'd all smoked bloody 10 doobies each and didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah. Typical, was Ben Cousins in the field?
He might have been around.
They might have had a 2006 reunion tour with old Chad Fletcher ODing in the Vegas hotel. Getting on the nose piece. But, yeah, look, West Coast, I mean, 2018 was maybe just an epiphany. They were just lucky they hit form at the right time. The Icks have been terrible ever since.
Well, they've got the Dockers this week, so it's a local derby, and the Dockers are very injury prone, but they still put up a good fight last week. So, unfortunately, you think the Eagles are going to sneak into the semis. They don't deserve to, but I think they're going to sneak in somehow.
Well, look, if they lose one game, there is a mathematical chance they can still miss out the top 8, because they're on 30 points. I think the Giants are on 38, and then there's Richmond.
Well, the Giants are now 8.
Yeah, they're at the 8th at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's why the Richmond GWS game is so important. But yeah, your West Coast should win. But I mean, like David Mundy's equaling Matty Pavlich's games record for the Dockers. Things like that tend to stir some emotion with the team because he's just been such a great stalwart for the club. But, looking at the sides on paper, you'd think West Coast would win easily. But, it's just been one of those reasons this year, hasn't it? It's just been been hard to predict. I'd hate to be a professional punter. I
mean, this whole round, you may as well call it the make-up round. For what happened last week with all the upsets, it's like the AFL said, all right, we're going to make it up to you. And you know what? You top 8 teams that lost. Well, guess what? We're going to throw you a lifeline here. As I said, Port's got Carlton. Brisbane have got the Magpies, even though they had a pretty good game. Swannies, well, you can have North Melbourne. That's cool. There, we'll make that happen. That's cool. Geelong, why don't you bounce back too? You got the Saints. Should do it easy, even though what happened last week, that might have been their grand final. Melbourne Demons, they're going to kick along. Well, we'll give you the Adelaide Crows because we know you're going to finish around the top somewhere around there. You're going all right. And Bombers, we want you to make top 8s. We'll give you the Suns. And we'll call this the make-up round.
Yeah. Oh, look,
Sorry for last week.
if the Bombers do make the top 8, I think the AFL will be trying their darndest to get the crowd numbers back open in Melbourne, because they'll flock. They'll flock because they're actually a good chance of winning a finals game this year if they're in that bottom 4, because the team they've got, I mean, it's a pretty solid side. Darcy Parish is just a ball magnet, but like we were saying with Tom Mitchell last week, surprise, viewers, he had more handballs than kicks, but at least Parish uses the ball quite effectively and does some meters. It's good watching him play. I like watching Darcy Parish play. I think he's a great player. And then they've got McGrath, Shield, Smith. Oh my God, I know Hurley's injured at the moment, but I mean, they've got the package. The package, if he delivers, I mean,
does go all right. The package
it does, yeah.
Just need the bow and tie on it, and it's the pure whole deal.
Stay away from those schoolgirls, Jake, and you'll be fine.
Jesus. I think that's the normal saying for most players, sporting people these days. Yeah, I know rugby league players have had a bit of trouble with that, me being a Bulldog supporter.
The Premier League too. What's his name? The old whatever his name was. He's in the I don't know. Look, I don't know about you, Captain, but if I was making millions and millions of dollars, why on earth would I go anywhere near an underage
schoolgirl? Yeah.
What? I don't know. I
don't get it either.
Is that just common sense?
I think so. You're there to educate them, not school them, literally.
It's horrible.
Well, mate, let's wrap it up again for this week. Another good weekend of football coming, and a lot of floggings I think are going to come. And looking forward to round 23. This is the best time of the year to be a AFL fan, as you keep saying, mate. AFL's the winner. Give us your pick of the round, mate. What's your best bet now before we sign out?
Best bet, I would say it's going to be Port Adelaide, definitely. Charlie Dixon's coming into some rare form, so I'm going to say Charlie's going to kick at least 4.
Yeah, right. 4 goals. Okay.
He's been building, and he's a good solid mark, and he's from, as we know, he used to be a Gold Coast Sun, and he's doing a much better job than his former teammate in Tom Lynch, the useless prick. But I would hazard the guess that Dixon will kick at least 4, hopefully.
Okay. Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. Yes. All right, Oyster. Once again, it was a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Let's talk next week and go your good things.
Next week we'll be looking at all Australian teams, I'm guessing.
Yes, love it. Let's get into that. There, let's put our predictions down for who will make it. You put your team, I'll put mine. We'll get it before the experts put theirs up. We'll see how close we are.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. And just remember, viewers, that we're only human. We do make mistakes. So if you're relying on us to get those multis up,
don't listen to us.
Gambling is not the answer.
And happy Left-Handers Day. Let's get that in one more time.
Yeah. Well, you know.
There's not all right, Oyster.
Take care.
Take care, mate. See ya.
Bye.